Moving on from Detroit Lions draft talk and into Detroit Lions coach talk. You know, I got that coach talk. I think Ben Johnson's safe, if I were to call it. I feel like...
Oh, breaking news. Ben Johnson landed the Texans job. No, I'm just kidding.
That would suck. That would definitely suck. No, I don't think he did. That doesn't mean that the Detroit Lions can't lose him to another team. I know Carolina, like his home state. Mm-hmm. I know the Carolina Panthers owner really has a knack for like offensive minds rather than the defensive ones. Yes. Even though I think Steve Wilkos, or everyone say his last name, ended the season like really, really well. But JB and Chris, there's a graphic in there of a tweet. Shout out after, and I know Gerard Mayo ultimately is going to re-sign with the Patriots at the defensive coordinator position, mm-hmm. which might be a sign of good things for the Lions fans if they think that Ben Johnson will get paid. But there's a tweet from, I think it's Ian Rappaport on Gerard Mayo's interview, and this is how it went. I can't really see. Oh,
Gerard Mayo impressed in a head coaching interview with Broncos and Eagles. Now Carolina makes a request. That is Ian Rappaport, and Tom Pelissero. It was just saying the interview with Patriots assistant Gerard Mayo for the head coaching job.
And I just feel like when guys are like likely to get hired, the tweets fire out like that, right? Yeah. Like, oh, Texans owner really loves this guy, or mm-hmm. Colts owner like really, that's just like that.
Jim Harbaugh, lead for Broncos. Right?
Yeah, lead, right? Like words like that. And then there's a tweet from Ben Johnson's interview, if you guys can pull it up, against the Texans. This is my quote tweet of it because this is how I feel. It was basically just
25 sitting on 25.
Yeah, Ben Johnson interview with the Texans. Yeah. The Adam Schefter one says Texans have now completed an interview with Lions offense coordinator Ben Johnson for the head coaching position. Sounds kind of like
pretty bland.
Yeah, like it happened.
Yeah. We threw him a bone. We gave him the interview. But he's kind of a weirdo.
Yeah.
He's talking about weird stuff.
We heard this local sports show in town said some weird things about him.
He came in playing Kanye West with a Top G shirt on.
Shaved his head bald, had sunglasses on.
Wore sunglasses inside the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys think, like, I don't know, are you buying into it a little bit? Does that feel the same way to you guys?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you'd like to see those better vernacular. He loves this guy, or
well, we don't like to
crush
see it
the interview.
Johnson.
Well, yeah, Ben Johnson. Yeah. Ben Johnson smashes his interview.
Smashing,
baby. But you'd like, if you're Ben Johnson, or if you're Panthers fans or somebody, you'd like to see that. You'd like to see, he's their top candidate. He's feeling good. Obviously, overall, it means nothing because they're going to make their decision regardless. But still, I think. I hope you're right. I hope Ben Johnson is safe. I hope Ben Johnson isn't being poached already, because it does scare me for him to leave. It does scare me 100%. To not have a guy like that on this offense after you saw what it did in just 1 year of him being the offensive coordinator, having the scheme, calling the plays, making things happen. It would be tough. It would be tough to kind of get over that. Even if you had a guy in Tanner Instrand who would work closely with Ben Johnson and is ready to take over, waiting in the wings, but I don't know. I just think it's not over. It's not over. It's not over until the fat lady sings. It's not over until me and Easy put on wigs and sing. So, we need Ben Johnson to be locked down. I just hope he doesn't get poached by one of these teams.
Final Sam, do you think Ben Johnson's safe from the Texans a coaching job?
No, I do not. Because if I'm an NFL GM right now, I want Ben Johnson as my head coach, especially a team like the Houston Texans who are going to draft a quarterback, whether it's C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or whoever. We see what Ben Johnson did with his Detroit Lions offense. In the first 11 games of last season, which were mostly coordinated by Anthony Lynn, they were scoring 15.8 points per game. In the however many games after, I think 5 or 6 games, 6 games after, which started with their first win, where I think Ben Johnson had kind of gotten his feet wet and everything, 25.5 points per game. And then this year, they were a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL, with obviously the offensive line is great, but like a lot of their skill position personnel is about the same as it was last year. DeAndre Swift was there last year. Jamal Williams was there last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown was there last year. Jared Goff was there last year. What was one of the biggest differences, other than year of development? Ben Johnson being the offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And you see where the NFL is going. With all due respect to a guy like Gerard Mayo, it's not like a defensive oriented coach. It's that young, or even not even young, that offensive mind. Even Kevin O'Connell, first-year playoffs. Mike McDaniel, first-year playoffs. Zach Taylor, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, even like a Matt LaFleur, Brian Daboll, first-year playoffs. If I am an NFL team, I think Ben Johnson is my first choice. I think he is one of the hottest coordinators, both offensive, defense, in all of the NFL. And if I'm Ben Johnson, I want to strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah.
Does it mean he may not interview? Maybe he doesn't interview well. I don't know. At this point, I don't care. I want Ben Johnson. I think he is that legit.
Yeah. But as far as the tweet goes, it doesn't like you don't see that as a sign of positivity for Detroit Lions fans. Like, do you feel like they would have been like, yeah, they really love Ben Johnson. They liked it a lot, or something like that.
I think as Lions fans, we would get on our knees and beg for Ben Johnson to stay. We're looking for
like
any single. Yes, we are looking for any reason to kind of be like, he's staying. I told you, they don't like him. All that stuff we're making up about how he hates puppies and stuff like that. We would do pretty much anything to keep him because we saw what he did with his offense. We saw how great Jared Goff was this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a star. Jamal Williams is a 1,000-yard rusher. That offensive line with like the blocking schemes and everything took that leap forward. So I think it's kind of fan speak because obviously we all agree I would do just about anything for Ben Johnson to come back.
Hey, yo.
Which is why he's not coming back because he is that hot of a name. If I'm an NFL team, I want Ben Johnson.
Yeah, man. I just feel like when the interview goes well, the tweets go well. The tweets are just decorated a little bit more, embellished a little bit more. And I just didn't feel it would be the case. Now, again, that doesn't mark him safe from any other organization that needs a head coach. But from the Texans, at least, that's what I'm leaning towards with it.
Yeah.
And again, like, sometimes your first trial run of interviews is just you learning how to interview. Ben Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, you guys, if anybody wants to pull up his resume between like Sam and you, Spinny, but like, I don't believe his resume does include like a head coaching position, So like some of the questions are going to be asked of him, maybe he's not fully prepared to answer because he doesn't have the experience, or maybe he didn't do enough homework with MCDC to prepare for it. But I just think he's safe from the Texans at least. And if I'm being fair, I do agree with everything that my guy Flannel Sam just said about Ben Johnson being like the hottest commodity out there in terms of like whether it's offense or defensive coordinators, and the Texans are just that stupid enough to like pass up on it because they seem pretty stupid the past couple years.
We'll go with like Cliff Kingsbury. He's got the experience. I could see the Texans being that stupid. Excuse me. I talked about Ben Johnson being the best coordinator in football this season.
Wow.
Ben Johnson being the most important coordinator in football this season.
You're not the only one, too. Mike March, former offensive coordinator, said the same thing.
Yeah, I very agree with that statement because it's so true. You look at how much they've changed that offense, how much he himself has impacted that offense, sitting down, doing it, mapping it out with Jared Goff to play to his strengths, and then going forward and executing at a high rate in most of the games this year. Obviously, he had a couple clunkers like against the Patriots and against the Cowboys, but
I blame that more so on not even Ben Johnson, Goff. I mean, come on, be for real. The Cowboys game, he's had 4 turnovers.
Yeah, that's not great.
Ben Johnson would say, "Hey Ben, hey JG, I really want you to throw a pick right here in this one. How about you just underthrow it here so that the defender can catch it?" Now I'm not taking shots at Goff because he cleaned up throughout the season, but I can't blame Ben Johnson for that.
Yeah, you can't really blame Ben
Jamal fumbling at the goal line
at the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
you can't blame him for that for sure. But still, I agree with you guys. I don't expect him to be back. I do expect him to get kind of taken by one of these teams because I feel like a team would be stupid not to. The way the NFL is trending, the way head coaching spots in the NFL are trending, screams Ben Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, and to me, you're talking about the Cowboys game, the Patriots game. That was obviously like a terrible stretch of offense. But to me, I judge more on like the totality of what you do in the season. Yeah. They were a top 5 offense. Jared Goff is having, I would say, like, remember how bad he looked at the beginning of last season?
Dude, yes.
How much better he looked at the end of last season?
I remember.
Yes. And how good he was this year with 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The most valuable connection on this team is Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have been as good as maybe any connection in the NFL besides maybe like 5 or something like that. They've been one of the best connections. And Ben Johnson's offense has kind of been what has opened it up for people. It's for them. It's Ben Johnson has just been so valuable, but like I said before, that is why he won't be back. Teams want that. The Lions don't have like world beaters in terms of offensive personnel. It was Ben Johnson's scheme that kind of unlocked it all.
I'm sorry, man. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you. The comments.
Yeah, I Kings Ben Johnson burned my crops.